All right, welcome everybody to the Precision Farming Talk here today. Appreciate the audience we have out here. Fantastic crowd. So with me today we have Miss Sheila Downing.
Good morning.
Why don't you introduce yourself here real quick, Sheila?
My name's Sheila Downey, like Craig says. I am the Eastern Region Precision Farming Specialist. I cover Michigan to Arkansas. I have been at Beck's for almost 11 years now. I'm going to let the dealers introduce themselves. So we'll start with Dave.
Dave Wilson, dealer in Southern Indiana, Field Tech Farm Supply. Been a Beck's dealer for 5 years. Prior to that, I was a precision farming specialist at Beck's.
Thanks, Dave.
Hi, I'm Sarah Chaffins, and I'm a dealer with M&R Ag Services. We've been a dealer for 22 years, and I've been with them full-time probably 15 years.
I'm Shelby Sanders. I'm also with M&R Ag, and I have been with them for 5 years.
Awesome. Well, we have a really good panel of dealers here today, and I'm Craig Rogers. I'm the Precision Farming Lead. Been at Beck's, 14 years now. Been in the precision farming department the entire time. So appreciate you guys all being here again today. So real quick before we get started, want to just go over, for some of you guys that don't know, what FarmServer is. So FarmServer is our precision farming platform, right? So it's a suite of tools designed to keep our customers successful and make the best decisions they can. There's a whole bunch of different tools in there. You'll hear about them here in a little bit. But the main key here is any tractor or combine, whatever monitor you have in there, we can read that data. We can do analytics. We can give you reports. But the main thing that we're focusing on is in-season agronomics. So maybe that'll come up, or we can talk a little bit more about that here in the future. So really want to get into how you dealers are using these tools. So with a new customer or existing customers, what are the tools in FarmServer, or how do you go about talking FarmServer with your customers? Dave, or whoever wants to take that first.
I think the easiest icebreaker is weather. I mean, with any farm, everybody wants to know what the weather's doing, how has it rained in their field, and so to speak. So I think that's the easiest icebreaker to set up a customer, say, hey, we can have a text message to text your rain every day, and that's probably the most popular, I would say. Outside of that, prescription writing would be the biggest piece that we do a lot of with our customers, and that's more of a detailed session. But I would say if you're asking what's the easiest way to get a hold of somebody and say, hey, let's work with FarmServer, would be weather.
Yeah, very good. Sarah?
Yeah, exactly what Dave said. Prescriptions and weather are key. The other thing that's really nice is seeing the different growth stages, and then also how they have the ability to share their field locations and all of that information with us. So if they're not able to go out to a field at the same time we can go out, see exactly where they're talking about. Also pinpoint and add scouting notes so they can see pictures of what the crop is doing, what we saw, and where it's at. So when we come back at harvest, we have all those notes to overlay and kind of put a piece of the puzzles together.
Excellent. When you guys are working with your customers and talking to them, especially with new customers, do they bring FarmServer up to you? Do you bring it to them? How do you guys introduce that to the actual customers?
I feel like we are always bringing it up because it's not really known to the outside world if they're not a Beck's customer. They don't know a whole lot about it. And a real big talking point on it, too, is that it comes with your seed. So you do not have to pay extra to have the same quality that you pay $1,500 a year to get other platforms.
We definitely bring it up. And if you're meeting with somebody, it depends on how the setting is, I feel like, but the ROI tool is probably one of the best things that customers need to use, especially going where we're at right now in the agriculture economy. But it's an easy piece to pull up that you don't have to sit and fill out for hours, right? So there's already benchmarks in there for each one of the costs. And I think that's a good way to show customers, hey, can you pull this out, or look at those fields that have yield? What's the results there? And so that's something that I know customers, they might not say a lot about, but they look at it a lot and bring some things up, because you get phone calls like, hey, how do you change this, or how do you do that? And so definitely in today's economy, it's something everybody needs to be looking at. But once you introduce that, they do seem to look at that and reference it quite often.
Yeah, from an early stage, back, man, when I first started, we didn't have any sort of precision farming tools at all, and a lot of our customers were like, man, we had competitors doing these things for our customers, and just trying to make sure that our dealers, our seed advisors, know more about these farms than as much information as they can to make the best recommendation on a seed product or practice. Those were some of the main reasons that we started this thing. Man, it's last year was 10 years of Farm Server being out, which is wild. So we're working on our 11th year. We've grown so much since then. Dave, I know you were here during those early days. So was Sheila. Well, you guys were as well. So come a long way on some of these tools here. So wanted to update you guys as well on some of the new features in Farm Server that we're demoing here at the show. If you guys are going to come in there and look at it later. So some of the newest things that we've had and continue to talk about, they said it already, the growth modeling, that has been a very, very good conversation starter with a lot of our growers, a lot of our dealers. But just this year, not too long ago, we refocused a little bit on some core precision farming tools. There's a lot of people out there that have their own sprayers now that do all this work themselves. For the longest time, it'd just give it like a tank mix name, right? So now we can break those down into individual products. So if you're wanting to know, total gallons of Roundup or Liberty or whatever you sprayed, that's one of the newer things we got out. We continue to add more and more to it every year, and a lot of it comes from guys just like this giving us feedback on our tools. So those are some of the newer things. Have you guys used any of those tools yet?
Not yet.
So she brought it up, like looking at overhead view from a spraying standpoint. I do love that because a lot of guys they have big sprayers, right? So they can spray, say you're going to go spray fungicide at R3. Most of the time we can get that job done in a 2 to 3 day window, and I think that's pretty common, maybe even a day. Well, it's really good to say like, hey, was all your beans ready at the same time? And so when you pull it up in Farm Server and you see it, one's at R2, one's at R4, one's at R3, it really breaks it down and shows them an example and that, hey, you're spraying too fast, right? And so that 1 day job or 2 day job probably needs to be split up into a week. And so it's just a good visual to see that on Farm Server, and I think that's a great feature.
One of the other new things that we have in Farm Server is for the guys that might not have that kind of technology. So if they don't have a monitor in their sprayer or things like that, you can now manually go in there and make those notes a little more detailed. So what type of spray was it? Was it broadcast? Was it, or application was it? Was it in furrow? What kind was it? And you can make those notifications so that later on, especially from your guys' standpoint, if you're asking the customer, hey, what did you do here, when, that kind of thing, they've got a record of that. So on that same wavelength, I guess, do all of your customers that use Farm Server, do they all have all the technology? Are they the high-tech guys? Or do we have guys using Farm Server that maybe just are still running the 4450 John Deere tractor with a 7000 planter?
I mean, honestly, it's a full spectrum. We've got guys that use it just for field boundaries. We've got guys manually putting notes in every step of the way. And then we've got guys that it's already linked and it's just downloading as things happen. And until the season's over, it's all just there. They know it's there. They know it's safe. It's all in one location.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, it is. I mean, to their point, we have tools for any customer that's out there, from the guy that doesn't have anything all the way up to, I talked to a couple guys this week. They're like, man, I haven't logged in my Farm Server account in the last year, and I still get all my notifications from the growth modeling tool, my PFR stuff, to the end of the year when we auto-generate that season-ending yield report. So he's getting all that information without logging in. So there's a number of different ways you can do that. One other thing I was going to bring up on Sheila talked about these manual events. Dave, we were just talking here earlier that you had a busy week with cover crops. One of the new tools that we just put out was a way to record that cover crop and be able to tell you what all was in the mix that they had. We've had a really hard time in the past trying to get that information put in the right way where customers can see, oh yeah, I did Bean Buster I don't know all the names of all the different cover crops, but that is one of the new manual entry things that we put out there. So.
I think going back to, how we were talking about different levels of guys, some of our guys that are very advanced, their stuff comes in automatically and they don't ever look at it until they've harvested and they're like, hey, what happened here? And it's so easy to go back and track either temperature, rainfall, like if they're spraying stuffs in, you can look at what growth stage they actually sprayed at. And it's just so helpful to be able to backtrack, because once the corn's picked, it's really hard to diagnose something, and we can somewhat find direction through Farm Server with all those tools.
Well, I think as a dealer, you try to help guide that conversation as well. I mean, a lot of times if you ask about it, post-harvest, a lot of times they're not as into it. But once you dive into a topic or dive into something they want to look at, sometimes they just need some help getting through that. And then as you get more comfortable with it and play around with it, they are more comfortable. And then they have more questions like, oh, this field here, I wanted to check this. And so it can really go down a path where they use it more. But it is an a la carte product that some people only want it for the weather, or some people only want it for prescriptions or whatever. So there is a broad range of people that use it and utilize it.
We've talked about you guys being able to help them with their data and looking at their stuff. Do you have full access to that instantly? Does the customer have access? If you guys want to talk that point, who owns the data, that kind of thing. How do you guys get the ability to see it?
So basically that is 100% up to the customer, but if they would like to, and in most cases grant access to a trusted advisor, whether it be the seed advisor or elsewhere, dealer, they can request that by just a click of a button. They just add your email in, they can see it. But at the end of this day, the data is owned by the farmer. It's not going out to some corporate cloud, but it is the farmer's data to be 100% in control of at all times.
Yeah, I think the buzzword a few years ago was who owns your data, right? And now I think we've kind of went away from that. Everybody's more comfortable with it, but it is really a good thing to bring back up that Beck's doesn't use it. They don't have it for anything, and it's your data. You can pull it out whenever you want. But having the trusted advisor piece is really nice from our standpoint. It helps just be more efficient on our side, right? So if we need to go look at something, if we can pull it up, access to the field to know where it's at. We try to know where everybody's fields are, but realistically, you just can't remember it. The capacity's not here. And so it'll take you right to it, and that feature is really nice.
Tell us how about from your guys' support. So when you guys have a question, or your customer asks you a question that you don't understand or you need help with, who are you guys turning to?
Sheila.
We've got a direct hotline to Sheila, and if Sheila's not available, I know Craig's number 2.
She's on speed dial. And if she doesn't answer, it's a quick text. And we get something back always.
Well, I think that's the great thing about it is that we have customers that call Sheila. We have customers that go straight to Craig, Weston, Trevor. But I think the nicest thing about all the support pieces, you can call somebody and talk to somebody. And you don't have to go through, a 17-minute conversation with a computer. It's there. And honestly, I think people do miss out on the support. Anytime anybody calls someone from the support side of it, it's a really good experience, because I think the main piece is, one, they want to help, right? So that's the first hurdle. And then 2, they talk to somebody on the other line that treats them like a human being. And I think that's, it's way overlooked, but it's such a great thing that you guys have from your team that it doesn't get probably noticed or recognized near enough. And so it is a great thing, and that's, customers love that. And I love it too, because I ask a lot of dumb questions. So
thanks for those very kind comments. Just so everybody else knows, our goal here with our team is to make sure that the dealers are the first line of action to answer most questions, and we know that they can't remember everything or can't answer every question. So we do have that full dedicated staff internally here that can help anybody. So if anybody ever has any questions, don't get frustrated. Also, Trevor on our team, he does a fantastic job. We have a whole help section. There's normally a 2-minute video followed by some step-by-step directions for any customer that does need to get in there and try to figure something out by themselves. So yeah, very good, very good.
Sarah, you talked a little bit about scouting earlier. Do you guys use the scouting app? Do customers use the scouting app? Will you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yep. So I will be full transparency. I'm very directionally challenged. So I use the scouting app for a couple of different reasons. One, you can get, like Dave already has alluded to, the maps to get you directly to the field. But once we get in the field and you start looking around, you can take pictures, upload those, make notes, anything you need to, and then those are always saved on the farm server. So when the customer, if they're not able to come out there, I can say, hey, I left a scouting note with the field name. They can go out to that field and see it in the events. Click on it, take a look. And it's something we can also monitor. If there's a problem, we want to go back in 2 weeks and see what it looks like. You go back in 2 weeks, go back out right to the pin of where you were at. It will lead you right to it. Take some more pictures, see if things have progressed, gotten better. And it really does. It helps, makes us all look like we have a really good memory as well, because you can't remember everything. So if you put it out there and document it, it's always out there.
I like using the yield tool, so estimating what the yield is. So we have a couple customers that we do a lot of scouting with, and we look at it, and we always try to guess with a seed advisor and us, like, what the yield's going to be. So we always save the pin. Everybody takes their guess, and the loser buys lunch. And so it's kind of a neat thing. But it's a quick reference. Sometimes you don't always, for calculations and things like that, to try to figure out yield estimates. It's a great piece that it's quick and easy to pull up.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about some of the future farm server stuff. So, obviously we listen to feedback from you guys on what we need to build. There's all kinds of things, and you guys got to remember we're trying to build tools that go from the Pennsylvania border to Denver, Colorado, and Canada to the Gulf, right? So there's all kinds of different things that come in. Some of the things that we're looking for the future is to get you guys the information faster, try to get as many questions answered. I talked to a lot of guys. Yesterday had several people coming in and say, hey, I need this report, I need that report. We got to be able to get that information to you guys as fast as we can and not have to have a canned report for everyone. So that's one of the main things that we're looking at moving forward. We're going to continue. I mean, this whole entire show here is set up around agronomy. Agronomy is definitely going to continue to go in there. What are some of the things that you guys would be excited about seeing?
I think it's probably a long shot, but like live feed in the field. I do think if we could get that, guys would move to running that instead of having their system and importing it. It's like they would just use one.
Yeah, that's a common question we get, and I definitely appreciate you bringing it up on here, and I'd love to address it. I'd love to address it to as many people as we possibly can. We have looked at that a number of times in the past. We have some really good partners from the FieldView side, from the My John Deere side, Case IH. It's just one of those things that we want our seed teams and our dealers to focus on what the customer's needing and not have to service all the time. Hey, my thing's not working. The technology is good. I mean, those guys do a really fantastic job. They have a really nice platform. Our main focus is not in the cab, and that's where those companies are spending a lot of time, money, and effort, is making that experience in the cab to be the best in the industry, and they're very good at it. Our best in the industry is that agronomy work. I mean, that's what we're sitting at today, is this big agronomy show. So it would be nice if we had something like that, and I think it could solve some of your guys' issues, especially, the old school, taking a USB drive out into a barn and pulling out data. I know the dealers, we hear it all the time, man, the biggest issue is trying to get actual data off those monitors. So it could make things like that easy, but man, we really want to focus on the things that we think are really going to move the needle, and that's on the agronomic and analytics side of the house. So, but no, that's a very good point, and I do appreciate bringing that up.
I guess I will say seeing Farm Server from its start to now is it's almost mind-blowing. It's went full circle. So to say what we see in the future, you guys just keep popping more things in that, as a seed dealer, seed and agronomy is our main focus. So you guys keep coming up with tools to make it easier. And like, oh, that was great. How did we do it without that? So I'm not always on the forefront of precision of what we need next. It's more embracing it as it comes and seeing how far it has came in 10 years.
Yeah.
It's definitely improved, and I think maybe not what you guys are going to bring out, but what we need to use more. We do a lot of placement books for guys now, but I think we need to get even more involved in that, right? And maybe have a little bit more of a vaguer book that's not detailed to every single field, but I think we need to get better at utilizing that for customers on a placement standpoint, because we do a lot of that now with prescriptions, but not necessarily if they don't have prescriptions going across the fields. But that's a good feature that we need to utilize more.
Yeah, the biggest one I hear on that is being able to tie, a seed order all the way through to a prescription and then back. Trying to make sure that our customers do have the right number of units on there. We do some rounding on our seed plans, which we want to make sure that customer has all the seed he can. But sometimes we do need some of those exact numbers, and for those systems that talk back and forth, that is 100% some of the stuff. We've been looking at some of those things for a number of years. We have a ton of different systems around here at Beck's that we're all trying to get to talk to each other, and it is happening. There's a big group of people, and I've been involved with some of those, is trying to getting all those things to talk, and that'll make your guys' lives a lot easier.
We always create a custom hybrid called corn. And the reason is, like, if Craig's field is in the middle of 20 fields, it's a really good plan to say that it's going to be hybrid A. But the reality is sometimes that just don't work out. So we like to just put in there and go in and give 1, 2, 3 options and just kind of handwrite it on. But that's our way of, our custom way of going through making that. But it works because the plans don't always work out exactly like you want them to.
Now, Dave, I know you just talked about the books and putting those together. When we think about precision ag, we think about all the technology, but there's still people that want paper. And so you guys are still printing off books for guys so that they can have a paper copy of what they're supposed to do?
Yeah, we do have a lot of customers. So we have a lot of customers that have, multiple people in the farm. And so there's still certain generations that still want the paper copy and printed. So we do that. The email version is really nice now. I mean, everybody, when they get the reports, they can look at it through their phone. But I think the paper copy was kind of the segue into it. And then once they ask more questions and we get them onto the platform itself, I think they have a lot of fun, right? It's like anybody that it's going to be really difficult to do. I'm a little nervous. I don't know what to do. But once they get introduced to it and realize that they can call somebody for support, I think that helps them get in there and use the tool a lot more.
I agree with the books. We have a lot of guys that still want the books because if previous data wasn't deleted, they don't know, am I getting the right hybrid because I can't remember, and they flip open the book and there it is. And it's just a double checker because as much as we like technology, I feel like farmers still love pencil and paper.
I remember when we first launched Farm Server, all those years ago, and we just got absolutely murdered because we did not have a way to print reports. You guys remember those days? We thought that everybody would get on their phone or on their computer and look up these things. So it's funny, and we're still 11 years later, 12 years later, talking about customers love printing pieces of paper out. So
well, and let's not also forget there are still areas there's no cell reception to look it up when you get out to the field on your phone.
Yeah.
Well, I think it goes back to it's a pretty cool product. It's a la carte. Some people like certain features, and some people will go after the digital piece or the printed copy. But the summary reports are really nice to glance at. It is a good piece when you can look at full farm, full fields, and just look at it. I think it's a great tool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, hey, we're about to the few remaining minutes of our time here, so we appreciate the audience out here being attentive. We appreciate the crowd that we have out here today, and definitely want to thank the dealers for coming out today, and for you guys listening. Anything we could ever do to help you guys from a precision farming standpoint or farm service standpoint, contact dealers just like these guys up here, and we'll get you guys taken care of. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thanks, guys.